I'm Greg Power.
You are? Wow.
3, 2, 1.
I'm Greg Tuffer. That's Greg Powers, and this is This Week
In Cruton.
What a wonderful show we're having so far. 9 minutes.
Great.
It's fair to say that
We're on vacation.
We could be in a little bit of a lag. Hot days in College Station.
Dude, we are having vacation. I'm on full vacation brain right now.
I'm waiting to get through today.
Before
and
you
then it's
flip
going
it
to be
off.
vacation brain because July 3rd is usually like the day that you want to celebrate a little. You want to start your pre-July 4th celebration on July 3rd, kick back, hang out, and get it going into tomorrow. But things have just been busy. State 7-on-7, and then right on the back of that, the opening finals, for me anyway. So I can see some relaxation around the corner.
It's Greg Powers of Next Level Athlete, our recruiting analyst here on Texas Football Today. Talking this week in recruiting, a lot per usual to get into. Let's start, as we always do. Well, although sometimes we always do. But we our prospect on the rise. A&M Consolidated's 2020 cornerback wide receiver combo platter, Nate Floyd. We got to see A&M Consolidated at 7-on-7.
Yep.
They obviously won. Home field advantage, but they obviously won.
Really good. They're really
They're
good.
really solid at the skill positions, and Nate Floyd's a big reason why. I know Brian Darby gets a lot of the ink spilled about him, but Nate Floyd, boy, he's pretty special.
What we knew about the 1-2 punch heading into this of Devin Price and Brian Darby, we knew about Nate Floyd. Don't get it wrong. We knew about him, but what he brought to the table to give them a trio of elite guys on the offensive side of the football made them nearly impossible to stop in the state 7-on-7. And to be quite honest, even though the other two players are rated higher than Nate Floyd, he was the star of the show. And we had a tremendous time watching him in the two final games, in the semifinal and the state championship game. Over the middle of the field, he was elusive. It's hard to dodge one-hand touch, but he was able to do so. And also, what kind of was overlooked probably by a lot of people in attendance was his ability to lock down his side of the field at corner. I mean, South Lake Carroll just didn't throw over there. So Nate Floyd, he's my personal MVP from the state 7-on-7 championship, considering schools like Arizona, Missouri, SMU, and Texas Tech. He told me they offered him as a corner. And Oklahoma State is also keeping close tabs on him. But I still think he might prefer to play on the offensive side of the football if that opportunity presents itself.
Interesting. Well, especially showing out like that at the state 7-on-7, he's going to get him a lot of attention. Our commit of the week, TCU picks up a big boy from the Valley, Edinburg Vela 2020 offensive tackle Tyler Bailey. And TCU beats out a fair number of good programs. LSU, Houston, Mizzou wanted him. North Texas wanted him. Certainly looks the part. 6'4", 280. This guy from down in the Valley. A lot of hidden gems come down from the Valley, but this guy not hidden at all.
It's hard to hide somebody 6'4", 280.
Yeah.
I mean, that's tough. But what I like about his game is he has a whole lot of nasty. I think what his position is at the next level might still be a little bit up in the air. Offensive tackle or offensive guard. He looks to play like an offensive guard more on tape. You don't see a whole lot of his clips getting to the second and third level, but he's mauling guys at the point of attack and is able to set the edge pretty easily. He's quick enough to handle the quick outside rush, and he's strong enough to bully guys around. So I think it's a really big pickup for TCU.
It's a big pickup for them, and his junior tape was awful impressive. Excited to see what he does as a senior, and then what he does for the Horned Frogs. It's Greg Powers of Next Level Athlete. Join us on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation. #TF Today. Underclassman of the week could also be the commit of the week. Texas A&M picks up a 2021 commit. I believe their first 2021 commit of the cycle. Denton Geyer quarterback Eli Stowers. This is a guy that we have heard a lot about. John Walsh at Geyer raves about this kid. The measurables are really impressive. 6'4", 205. He commits to A&M. He's got a lot of offers from a lot of different places. He's just entering his junior year. This kid, I know that Geyer has a long history of putting out quarterbacks. This guy seems like the next in line.
Well, I think it's an interesting debate, too, especially faced with the fact that the type of offense that Jimbo Fisher employs. I think Stowers is a guy who fits in really well there. Big, strong pass thrower. Still has some development to do with his technique and consistency, but you can see all the tools. And I think it's easy to look at a guy like Kellen Mond and see the strides that Jimbo Fisher has made with him in a very short amount of time of working with him, and then look at a guy like Eli Stowers and say, wow, maybe he's got a bit more upside maybe than Kellen Mond. I don't know. That's a healthy debate. I think he's probably heading into what is going to be his junior year, a more highly regarded prospect than Mond.
Probably true. Now Mond, I think by the end of it was pretty clearly nobody. He wasn't hiding from anybody.
Right.
I want to see him improve as a passer. This is a guy that right now it seems like when it gets to big play time, they're saying go run with it. He ran for 1,100 yards last year. He's an outstanding runner. I want to see him develop as a passer and develop that kind of accuracy that you're going to need in the SEC where those windows are so small. I think that he's got a chance to be really special, and I think that I want to see. It's almost like I understand everybody. You got to be the first to offer, right? We were talking about that with Chad Morris at Arkansas about how you got to be the first to offer. If you're the first to offer, you have a little bit of an advantage. And at this point, I'm really interested in his junior tape because if he makes that big step from a sophomore to a junior, and he goes from being like a really a good I think last year he was a good to very good quarterback. If he makes that leap to great, then you start saying, okay, this kid could be 5-star material. This kid could be one of the very best quarterbacks, not just in the state but in the nation.
Well, one thing that I liked watching him a little bit closer at the state 7-on-7, I think we watched him in the last game on day number 2, is that he throws a really good deep ball. The ball comes out effortlessly. He's able to work the middle of the field. He's not always the most accurate on some of the other routes, as you pointed out, but I think the upside is definitely there, and you can see why schools like Georgia and Clemson, Baylor, and TCU also offered him a scholarship before he decided to commit to A&M.
Finally, let's talk about our recruit of the week, our recruit of the week.
Yep.
It's a guy we've talked about before. It's Longview quarterback Haines King. I will read you a tweet from our good pal Mike Craven, who is sitting in that chair just yesterday.
Did a great job on the show, by the way. I enjoyed listening to that.
You hear that? Do you hear that jealousy? You hear that jealousy? He is just like, I can't believe you guys brought another recruiting guy.
No, Craven's great, man. Craven's the guy.
Just dripping with envy.
I think we should bring Craven on more often.
Yeah, I'm not mad at all.
Should we just replace you with Craven?
No. That's a firm no.
Anyway, I'll read this tweet, and I want to see if you agree. Haynes' stock may be on the rise more than any player in the country. And then he goes on to talk about Hudson Card. He has been really, really good at Elite 11, going on at the Star in Frisco right now. We knew that Haines King was a top prospect, but now we can pretty much put the stamp on him, right?
And what you love seeing at an event like that is him against all the other nationally rated QBs. Is he better than them? Are they 5 stars? And how does he stack up? Well, he's pretty good. He's a gun. We defined him in our very first podcast talking about Haines King as a gunslinger. And I think that's the moniker that fits him perfectly. I mean, I think he is a gunslinger. He's a leader, and he's a guy who the team can depend on. And as a matter of fact, we're elevating him to a 5-star prospect at DCTF. It's official as of. Let's push the button. Congrats, Haines King. You're a 5-star.
There you go.
It's well deserved. I mean, this guy is a stud. He's a star, and I think that we were talking about with Craven. Not to mention him again. I know the bad blood between you two, but
it's just so great.
We were talking about how with coaches' kids, we always think, okay. I think we always kind of hold back praise because we're like, we want to make sure we see it. You know what I mean? But we've got a couple of them now, in Haines King, and then I would also say Chandler Morris, who if their last name was Jones,
right?
You know what I mean? Although not John Stephen Jones, I'll pick another one. If their last name was Henry, you know what I mean? Then we would still be talking about them as really, really good quarterback prospects. And Haines King, it seems like he has done everything you could possibly ask of a quarterback, and he's still got one more year left in high school.
Well, I think it's tougher to play for John King if you're Haines King than it would be any other quarterback that he's coached before. I mean, he's not going to pull any punches. There's not going to be any punches pulled at practice, and when you get home, you're going to have to hear about it over again. So he's shown a lot of maturity playing for John King at Longview, helped guide them to the state championship, Under Armour All-American, the odds-on favorite to be the Elite 11 number one quarterback, or named as the Elite 11 MVP by the end of the day. He has his team in the semifinals of the 7-on-7 championship over there right now. So a lot of things are clicking in the right direction, and now it comes down to where will he play his college ball. And it's probably between Texas A&M and Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a whole lot of Aggies in the state right now that are on pins and needles waiting for that announcement to come down the wire. And will they get him or not?
Yeah.
That's the biggest question. So
everybody's
watching it.
It'll be a huge get. Let me just say one thing about the opening, because I actually do, the opening, the Elite 11, all that fun stuff. I understand the value of it, but the names of these 7-on-7 teams are off.
You don't want to play on team Guap
or team Drip or team Pressure.
They did Guap and Drip are at the bottom of the barrel. I could actually make an argument for Pressure and Savage, at least being.
God.
It does feel very. How do you do, fellow kids?
It really is. It's extremely how you do, fellow kids. You know what it reminds me of, honestly? Did you guys ever see the documentary movie Starship Troopers? Do you guys remember the football scene in that? It always feels like they're playing on a battleship, and it's like, oh yeah, we're playing with a ball that's all lit up. I don't know. That's just something that I've seen tweets about. I'm like, okay, Team Drip. I can't take it seriously. He's Greg Powers of Next Level Athlete. Follow him on Twitter at GPowersScout. Follow Next Level Athlete on Twitter at Next Level D1. Powers, appreciate your time. I guess we're doing it next week, right?
Yeah. Assume so.
Okay,
let's do it.
Okay, bye.